Hello chess friends and welcome to Zarov's chess channel and welcome to the round 3 of the Altibox Blitz chess tournament in 2019 in Norway. So believe me or not, after 3 rounds Maxim Vachier-Lagrave is taking the first place. He has 3 wins, so he hasn't drew or lost a game, and on the second place is Levin Oranyan with 2.5 points. So if I would have to bet after 3 rounds which players would be on the two first places, I would never bet on the 2 of them. But okay, we're still in an early stage of the tournament, still many rounds to play, and still many points to gain. So Magnus Carlsen in round 2 only drew also, so it's time for Magnus Carlsen to really regroup a little bit and try to catch up with the two ones on the first place. And he faced in the round 3 here with the black pieces Yangyi. So here Yangyi opened with d4, and as I said, the time format is 3+2. It's an unbelievable tempo. I've played it sometimes. You cannot lose on time. You have still time to play, but you have to really be fast. 3 minutes there really this is not much time to think about it. So for those who maybe played 3+0 on Lichess or on other chess websites, you know what I'm talking about. So this increment, when you have it, okay, it's there, but sometimes you get annoyed by just pushing your clock, and as said, it's really a fast tempo. I would love to see the top grandmasters playing live, so I think my heartbeat would be really fast. So as said, d4 by Yangyi, knight on f6, here c4 by Yangyi, and here Magnus answers with the move c5. So the Benoni defense is not so often played these days, but okay, here d5 the most common way, and I've expected when I watched the game Magnus to go maybe into the Benko gambit with b5, but okay, we have g6 by Magnus, knight on c3, bishop on g7, and here now e4, here d6, bishop on d3, and okay, this is an idea. If you play something like knight on f3, you might get pinned here positionally, sort of. And then if you play something like bishop on e2, you see black could go maybe with e5 and bishop takes on f3 into sort of a positional trades of pieces. So that's why bishop on d3, getting out. Of course, the preparation is in some occasions to play maybe somehow the move f4 and e5, really liberating this bishop. Or in some occasions it could be knight from g2 e2, and here then knight on g3 with some h5, h4, h5 attacks on the king side. Here Magnus simply cancelled and knight on f3 was played. Okay, we have now one of the most common lines of the Benoni, and here Magnus goes into the so-called Czech Benoni style with e5, closing the center, which is now a more positional game. As said, when the center is closed, you could go maybe in some positional trades of pieces. In some occasions you could try maybe bishop on g5 just to get rid of the knight, because the position is really closed. You could have really get rid of your bishops in some occasions for the knight. So here bishop on g5 could be also an idea. And here after e5 Yangyi also castled. We have knight on h5 with the preparation to fix the knight on f4. If bishop takes on f4, then after e takes f4, we would really liberate this diagonal for the bishop. Still have the opportunity to play moves as g5, really support this f4. So here knight on e1 was played, also a common idea, and here knight from b to d7. Here bishop on c2, knight on f4 was played, and this was now Yangyi's preparation, knight on d3, challenging the knight with the knight. So he doesn't want to give up his bishop for the knight on f4, and here Magnus simply took, and here queen on d3. Okay, you got out with the queen with the tempo, but the queen is also here a little bit an object of black's attack, because here we can play simply f5, and see after e takes f5 we have g takes f5, and here I think Yangyi makes the main mistake in this game. He played the move f4. You could go maybe here queen on g3, because if you get something like queen on f4, you see you have really liberated this diagonal for the bishop. The knight has also good square on e4, which could attack here the pawn on d6. So it would be sort of a provocative move, this queen on g3, really forcing black to do this f4 move, which could really open the position for white. This f4 move leads into this line in which e4 can be played, and kicking away the queen. Queen on e2 was played, and now knight on f6. You see how important for Magnus was to play first the move knight on d7 and then knight on f6, because here also potential idea for white could have been this pawn breakthrough with g4, which could weaken this e4 pawn after maybe f takes g4. So that's why here in Magnus Carlsen, knight on f6 plays this very nice move, and now he can really get the queen into the game through the g file. So here Yangyi tries knight on d1, but you see he played too many moves, I think, with the knight. Here of course you can fix the knight on d3 and attack maybe this f5, but it's long way. It has to be prepared. Here Magnus plays the most aggressive way. Here b5 uses this moment. Of course he plays into the so-called Benko gambit style with b5. We have c takes b5 and now a6. Of course, if you take, you see this could be deadly, because bishop on a6 you cannot bring the bishop in between and you simply lose the rook. So that's why b6 was played, and now knight on g4, also sort of a provocative move, forcing white to do maybe some h3 moves, which could weaken the king side much more, the castle king here. Knight on e3 was played, and now Magnus also uses this moment to create this very annoying pin. Here h2 was played, and now knight on f6, still staying with the spinning idea. Of course you cannot play moves as b3, because this bishop is a monster bishop, which you cannot attack this bishop on the square c2. Also this bishop is really has a really great control in the center. King on h1 was played, and now rook on b8. Now this rook is attacking the pawn, but the main thing about this rook is that we don't want to take with the queen. We want the queen on the king side. We want the queen where the attack is created here. We want to bring it maybe through g6, or if possible, of course, to h5. So great move here by Magnus. Rook on b8, attacking this pawn, and here liberating really this b5. So rook on b1, as said, rook on b6, of course. Here bishop on d2, we are trying really to liberate this bishop, but now rook on b7, we have bishop on c3, and Magnus plays, of course, queen on e8. You cannot take this bishop because then you will have this very annoying connected pawns. You have to move somewhere your knight, maybe here on d1, and then you get this very annoying fork. So that's why here you have to stay, you have to leave this bishop in the center. Here rook on d1 was played, and now knight on h5, very strong move, of course, with the preparation to play knight on g3 with the fork on the king and the queen. So that's why here queen on e1 had to be played, but you see Yangyi's pieces are really passive. Here of course again queen on g6, again with threat of the fork. Still you cannot trade off these bishops, you know. If you take, of course, you see, then you get this fork. So that's why king on h2 was played in this position. Magnus played queen on f6. He wants to stay on this defense, on this bishop on d4. As said, the main threat is to connect these pawns in the center, the main idea. And you see how important this rook on b7 was, this rook lift. Now the rook can really swing over and attack the castle king through the g file. So that's why queen on d2 was played, pressuring more this bishop on d4. But now queen on h4, attacking this g3 square. This could be deadly if you allow white this control of this particular square. Here queen on e1 was played. Well, Yangyi is trying really to simplify position, to trade off these pawns, to trade off these bishops. Really black's pieces are too 2 active, so that's why again Magnus tries the queen on f6, here queen on d2, and now comes this move rook on g7. Now of course bishop takes on d4, we have c takes d4, queen takes on d4, but now queen on h4, and this is now whole different position because we have now the rook as an attacker of the g2, so that's why queen on d2 was played. Okay, now queen on g3, attacking the king with a check, king on h1, and now knight on f4, very strong move. The knight comes in the attack, of course there are also some threats maybe to sacrifice the knight on h3. Queen on f2 was played. Now knight on h5, you see Magnus finds the best moves in this very fast time format. Of course you cannot take again because again you get to fork, so you see this h3 move was really a deadly one for you, Yangyi. He opened the position around the king too much, so that's why here after the rook on from d2 e1 was played, and now Magnus connects these pawns with the move f4, the knight has to move, and now d6, also very strong idea here. You Yangyi tries this move, knight takes on e3, but now bishop on h3. You see, of course, you cannot take f takes e3 because of this ideas of queen takes on f8. But here Magnus plays this very nice attack. Queen takes on g3, but now knight takes on g3 with a check. King on h2, and now first the check, of course, on f1. Knight takes on f1, but now bishop on g2, knight on d2, and now very strong move f3, rook on g1, but okay, it's not a problem here. The immediate threat is of course the checkmate on h6. So very great game by Magnus in this really fast time format. He had to win a game. If he wouldn't win this game, he would be in troubles in the continuation of the tournament. So as said, we are continuing to follow this very exciting tournament. See you in a couple of minutes. Chess is the best, of course.